Hello, motorsports fans. Welcome back to A Motorsports Addict. Today, I bring you highlights from a truly unforgettable moment in Grand Prix motorcycle racing. Today's episode is about the MotoGP German Grand Prix at the Sachsenring in Germany. The historic day when the brothers Marc and Alex Marquez both stood on the podium together for the very first time in their MotoGP careers. This remarkable achievement and their joint celebrations with their family and their team in the aftermath not only highlights their individual talents, but also underscores the strong family ties and the competitive spirit that have driven them to the very pinnacle of motorcycle racing. Before I get into today's episode though, I want to appeal for your support for this channel. Please like this video and hit the subscribe button. This tells the YouTube algorithm to push the video to other viewers and encourages me to continue creating content. It would be great if you could also share the video with anyone who might enjoy it. Thank you very much. Now, let's get back to the Marquez brothers. Marc and Alex Marquez are Spanish world champion motorcycle racers. Both of them have won multiple titles at various levels of the elite MotoGP motorcycle racing series. Both have won titles in Moto3 and Moto2, while Marc also holds 6 titles in the Premier MotoGP class, where only the best riders in the world compete. Known for his exceptional skill and determination, Marc is widely acknowledged as one of the most talented riders to ever race a motorcycle. His style and skill are unparalleled, and he holds several records in his own right. And for as long as he continues racing, he remains on course to equal and set new records in the MotoGP class. Marc, the elder Marquez brother, is 3 years older than his little brother Alex. Marc races with the number 93, which represents the year of his birth, while Alex races with the number 73. Both riders race for the Gresini Ducati MotoGP team. Now, let's talk about the Sachsenring round of the MotoGP World Championship in 2024. Marc demonstrated his vintage form at the Sachsenring, a circuit where he has historically excelled. Marc has a record of 11 straight wins at the Sachsenring, which should really be renamed the Marquez Ring in his honor. His second place finish marked yet another notable achievement, reinforcing his status as the King of the Ring. On the flip side of the coin, the Sachsenring was also the site where his split with the Honda team was allegedly triggered in 2023. After 5 heavy crashes during practice and qualifying, Marc did the unthinkable by pulling out of his favorite race, even though he was declared fit to race by the MotoGP medical team. By the end of the season, Marc famously broke his very lucrative contract with factory Honda to sign for the independent Gresini Ducati team to race a year-old bike, a huge departure from his days on the latest spec factory RC213V, backed by all the resources of the mighty Honda Racing factory. All eyes were on Marc this weekend for a variety of reasons. First was due to his remarkable record at the Sachsenring. Second was his unfortunate experience last season where he had to pull out of the race. Third was his record so far on the GP23 Ducati bike, which he had raced to a highly competitive 3rd position in the MotoGP World Championship. Marc had yet to win a race in 2024, but if there was a circuit where he was likely to score his first race victory on a Ducati, it was most obviously going to be one of the counterclockwise tracks, of which Sachsenring was his absolute domain. But contrary to expectations, the weekend didn't start very well for Marc. He crashed several times in practice. One of the crashes was so bad that he risked serious injury. He fractured his finger and injured his ribs, but he was declared fit to race. At this point, many people on the grid feared a repeat of 2023, where he would be unable to race due to the pain caused by his injuries. Despite these setbacks, he turned up for qualifying on Saturday morning and put in a strong performance with the support of strong painkillers. With his fractured finger taped to its body, Marc was on a hot lap during his final run when Honda wildcard rider Stefan Bradl obstructed him, ensuring that Marc could only qualify in 13th place on the 5th row of the grid for the sprint and the main race. Naturally, Marc was very upset, but he accepted it as a normal part of racing. Marc's chances of victory appeared to be gone due to the narrow nature of the track, which had very few overtaking opportunities. The Sachsenring is one of those circuits where grid position is absolutely important to stand any chance of winning the race. Due to his poor grid position and the nature of the track, the natural assumption was that Marc's chances of winning the race were pretty much gone. But this was the Sachsenring, a counterclockwise circuit, Marc's specialty. Because of Marc's record at left-hand circuits, there was still the sneaking suspicion that he would pull a result out of the bag. Frankly, in 2024, Marc had made a habit of qualifying poorly and fighting through the pack to finish on the podium, and so his grid position was seen as a serious inconvenience at best, and not as proof that a miracle would be impossible for Marc. I mean, if anyone could do it, wouldn't it be foolish to rule out the great Marc Marquez? Now, let's talk about Alex Marquez, the younger Marquez brother and former Moto 2 and Moto 3 world champion. Alex has been steadily making a name for himself in the MotoGP Premier class since he was promoted from Moto 2 in 2020. The Sachsenring was a defining moment for him, as Alex has perennially raced in the shadow of his more famous and extremely talented sibling. It's often whispered that Alex is on the grid purely because of his older brother, but this is rather unfair, considering that Alex has won world titles in both Moto 3 and Moto 2, and several podiums in the Premier class for both Honda and Gresini Ducati, and he's unfairly underrated, in my opinion. Alex also had a very eventful race weekend. His runs in free practice were quite good, though he complained that he didn't have sufficient race pace. He also suffered a very heavy fall in qualifying, but he still managed to secure 5th place on the second row of the grid. The brothers had mixed fortunes during the sprint. Alex started 5th, and lacking outright pace, he was unable to hang on to the lead riders. He was also unable to overtake due to the nature of the track, and he finished the race in 9th place, having been passed by his older brother at some point. Marc started all the way on the 5th row, making one of his characteristic strong starts to put himself in a strong position in the race. His performance was a masterclass in racing, characterized by his aggressive riding style. Naturally, he put in some very determined overtakes to drag his bike and his wary body forward, fending off fierce competition and maintaining focus under pressure. He put in a true hero's performance to finish 6th in the sprint race, despite the pain in his ribs. He even overtook his younger brother to reassert his dominance in the family and in the Gresini team. Marc and Alex finished the sprint in 6th and 9th place respectively. This was a preview of the race on Sunday. Game on. On Sunday, Marc started the feature race in 13th place, while his brother started in 5th. Both made strong starts, Alex showing good, consistent pace to run just behind the leaders. He got in some determined fights with other riders as he struggled to maintain his position near the front of the race, behind the hard-charging Ducati GP24s of Jorge Martin and Pecco Bagnaia, who had cleared off into the distance in a race of their own. Marc had a very good start, putting in aggressive passes as he chased the runaway leaders. He soon put the Aprilias and KTMs behind him until he got to the GP24 Ducatis of Franco Morbidelli and Inaya Bastianini, whom he will be replacing at Ducati next year. These two competitors were not so easy to overtake, and a series of ding-dong battles ensued as all three riders swapped positions desperately. There was even a scary moment on lap 22 when he collided with the Pramac Ducati of Morbidelli. The desperate three-way contest continued for several laps until he was able to put them both behind him. Despite being on the older, year-old GP23 bike, Marc proved why he's regarded as the king of the ring by leaving both faster, newer bikes in his wake, as he set after his brother Alex, who was in 3rd place. He soon overtook Alex for 3rd, and then the brothers both gained the place when Jorge Martin crashed out of the lead of the race. The Marquez brothers were both on the podium with just a couple of laps to go until the end of the race. Pecco Bagnaia eventually took the checkered flag, which was waved by Keanu Reeves, while Marc and Alex Marquez crossed the finish line in 2nd and 3rd places respectively. The joy on their faces was palpable as they both stood on the podium together. The sight of the Marquez brothers on the podium together was a poignant and inspirational moment for the sport, symbolizing the combination of years of hard work, sacrifice, and dedication by both the riders and their families. Particularly their parents, Julia and Rosé, this achievement was a dream realized. The joint podium was a celebration of the Marquez family's contribution to MotoGP. With their second and third place finishes, Marc and Alex became the first brothers to share a podium in the Premier class since the Aoki brothers at the 1997 Imola Grand Prix. Nobuatsu and Takuma Aoki had achieved this feat riding for Honda, making the Marquez brothers' achievement even more special. Their journey to this historic podium finish has been long and arduous. When Alex was promoted to MotoGP in 2020, he joined the factory Honda team alongside his brother Marc. However, their dream of sharing a podium was thwarted by Marc's season-ending accident at Jerez, which almost put an end to his career. Alex was not destined to be a factory Honda rider for long, as the team announced even before the season was over that he would be joining their satellite team, LCR Honda, for 2021. He wasn't even allowed one full season before he was moved from the factory ride. At LCR, he suffered the same issues with the bike as all the other Honda riders, as they struggled with a package that was difficult to ride. Alex was frustrated and extremely unhappy. After his struggles on the Honda, Alex joined Gresini Racing in 2023 and scored 2 main race podiums and a sprint win in his debut season aboard the satellite Ducati. And in a surprising turn of events, Marc also joined Gresini in 2024, no doubt encouraged by his brother's results with the team and the fact that the Ducatis were the fastest bikes on the grid. Also, being partnered with his own brother, Marc was welcomed to the team with open arms. With Marc set to join Ducati in 2025, this season represents their only chance to share podiums as teammates in the Premier class. And watching the two brothers together on the podium must have been really fantastic for the Gresini team, as it shows the strength of their package to have two of their riders finish so high in the race. It also vindicates their decision to sign both riders for the team, particularly Marc, who had a torrid time with the Honda in the last few years. Marc has definitely repaid this confidence several times over this season with his string of impressive results. The joint podium is not the only record the Marquez brothers hold. They are also the first brothers to win world titles in the MotoGP racing series. In 2014, the Marquez brothers became the first brothers to win world titles simultaneously, Marc in MotoGP and Alex in Moto3. They repeated the feat again in 2019 when Alex won the Moto2 title and Marc won his 6th MotoGP World Championship. Of course, the Marquez and the Aoki brothers are not the only set of siblings to race together in MotoGP. The Espargaro brothers immediately come to mind, as well as Valentino Rossi and his brother Luca Marini. But none of these pairs have been able to achieve the success that the Marquez duo have recorded. As the MotoGP season progresses, the performances of Marc and Alex Marquez at the Sachsenring will undoubtedly serve as a motivational catalyst for both riders. Marc will be aiming to build on this success and challenge for the title this season, while Alex will be keen to maintain his momentum. The German Grand Prix of 2024 will be remembered not just for the thrilling on-track action, but for the emotional and historic moment of two brothers standing side by side on the podium. The Marquez brothers have proven that, in the high-octane world of MotoGP, family and passion go hand in hand. And as we look forward to the remaining races of the season, the shared podium at the Sachsenring will remain a highlight, symbolizing the power of perseverance, talent, and the unbreakable bond of family. And so we come to the end of another episode of the Motorsports Addict. I hope you've enjoyed watching this, and I hope you'll come back for more. I'd like to see what happens at the end of this season. Who will win? Will it be Pecco Bagnaia or Jorge Martin? Can Marc finish higher than third in the World Championship this season? Only time will tell, but I expect to be here talking about the season as it unfolds. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more notifications. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your time.